is Erin Martin Post, and I'm a data community advocate at Shipyard. Our goal in this video series is to put together some common questions and their answers that we've seen in our own community as well as other data-oriented communities. For today, I'm talking about a very specific capability that unlocks a lot of possibilities, and that is data unloading in Snowflake. So I'm going to walk you through some of the high points on what data unloading is, and then I'll explain how it can be used in data orchestration. So what exactly is Snowflake's data unload? In case you didn't already know, Snowflake is a cloud-based data warehousing platform that allows you to store, analyze, and process large amounts of data. It works well for a lot of different use cases and roles that can exist on a data team. However, data moves. So to complicate it further, data needs to take different shapes and formats in order to be used by all the different types of data roles. So while getting data into Snowflake is an entirely separate topic, what happens when you need to bulk move data out of Snowflake? And part of that can come in some of their unload capabilities. This is a very basic diagram that I drew up to explain the concept. So here is Snowflake, and here's the table that you'd like to unload into a different source. You can specify whether you want it to be in JSON format, a CSV, or a Parquet file. I'm going to write a SQL statement that utilizes something called copy into. You can either move it into an external stage, or you can move it to a directly from here to your cloud storage bucket. And I call it that, but it depends on where you're moving it to. It can be an S3 bucket, Azure, or Google Cloud. And this allows you to then take this table. You can take partitioning into account as well if you'd like to split it up into different files, specify the format, and then specify the location. There's a bunch of other settings that you have to take into consideration when you're writing this full copy into statement. I will post the link down below so that you can check out Snowflake's documentation on all the other information that you might need. Lastly, I'd want to talk about how this all relates to data orchestration, since that's what Shipyard, my company, does. And great question. If you consider that you're moving data and you're using something like Shipyard or an ETL tool or something like that to move it, you can perhaps take a CSV from Snowflake and then have an ephemeral CSV existing in Shipyard, and then take that CSV and then upload it to Google Cloud Storage. With that, even though it's an ephemeral file, so it doesn't exist in the system once the job is done, it's still transferring data to yet another system. What's nice about this unload command is that in Shipyard, there's a blueprint to execute kick off a SQL query in Snowflake, and you can execute this copy into command. So then you're moving data directly from Snowflake to, S3, Azure, Google Cloud, without it ever having to actually have this blip where it's an ephemeral file in Shipyard. So I know that will make a lot of security people happy, but that is one way to optimize and sort of cut out the middleman by just using Shipyard's low-code blueprints. Super easy, go in and have it execute a SQL query that is using copy into. That's it for this week's Captain's Compass video. Check out some of our other videos in this series to answer more questions.